I'm a developer who needs to build and deploy a simple inventory app to Google Cloud, so let's see how I can use Duet AI to be more productive. The first thing I notice is that chatting with Duet AI is available right here in my local IDE, VS Code, which helps with context switching. Now, I don't know much about Google Cloud, but I do know that my team has standardized on containers, so let's see if Duet AI can help me figure out how to build and deploy this app in a container. I love that Duet AI's response breaks down tooling and platforms for building and deploying containers, packed with just enough information for me to be able to make a decision. Cloud Run jumps off the page for me in Duet AI's response, as I don't want to have to manage any infrastructure, so let's go with that. Since I don't know Cloud Run, I'd actually love an example to use to bootstrap. And to stay in context as much as possible, let's see if Duet AI can tell me how to get a Cloud Run sample using Google Cloud's IDE extension, Cloud Code. And looks like we got step-by-step instructions back from Duet AI, so let's step through them. Okay, looks like I got the sample cloned to my environment, and I've landed on a README page that talks about deployment. But first, let's see if Duet AI can help me quickly understand the contents of the example. I know containers are often built using a Docker file, and I see one here, so let's actually ask Duet AI to break it down. By highlighting the contents of the Docker file, right-clicking and selecting Explain This, it looks like Duet AI gave me a layer-by-layer breakdown of what is in the Docker file. And I see that in Duet AI's response that our entry point is actually app.py, so let's jump over to that file and see if Duet AI can help us understand the application code. Now I know there are already comments in the example Docker file, but I was still pretty happy with Duet AI's explanation and breakdown, so let's see if it actually can shed some light on the hello function in this Flask app. Sweet. With Duet AI's explanation, I'm able to quickly learn about the code in natural language, including learning about some useful info that's stored in environment variables that my app can access in Cloud Run. Now I want to start experimenting with adding inventory functionality to this template. And since I know I'll need to write logic to access inventory data, let's ask Duet AI for some sample data. I gave Duet AI specifications that it should be JSON with 2 specific attributes. And not only was Duet AI able to generate this data, but I'm also able to take that data from Duet AI's chat interface and add it directly to this new file. In the spirit of speeding up my workflow, now I'm wondering if Duet AI can actually help me write a function to access this data directly from my Flask app. I'll start by modifying my import statements in the Flask app for what I think we might need. I read that I can use comments to prompt Duet AI to generate code for me, so I'm going to paste in my requirements, highlight them, and select Generate Code. Okay, I think this is what I wanted. The route looks good, we're specifying the get method, and we're returning the inventory data using JSONify. I guess the next thing to do is test the app out. I'll test it locally first, and since there are some Cloud Run environment variables that we're accessing, I actually want to see if there's a local emulator for Cloud Run. Let's ask Duet AI. Yep, there is. Now can Duet AI tell me how to use it? Just what I needed. Duet AI responded with a couple of clear steps to follow to deploy to the Cloud Run local emulator, so let's follow them. Seems to have completed. I think the app is now running and exposed on my local machine on port 8080. So let's open this up in a simple browser. And the app is up and running. I can see that the emulator has specified the Cloud Run environment variable to be local, which makes sense. Now let's see if the code that Duet AI gave us to return inventory data is working. And it looks good to me. The last thing I want to do is figure out how I can actually deploy this to the cloud in Cloud Run. And now let's follow Duet AI's instructions on how to do this. Looks like I now have a public URL where I can access the app running in the cloud on Cloud Run, and it looks good to me. To recap, with Duet AI, I was able to be incredibly productive, going from idea to deployment with a platform I was not all too familiar with, all in a matter of minutes, and without ever leaving my IDE. Check out the link in the description to learn more about how you too can be productive in Google Cloud using Duet AI.